Hey. Welcome to the nighttime Bible reading for beginners, where beginners come together and read the Bible and learn all about the goodness of God. I'm sorry about that, you guys. But man, welcome back. That was my politically correct intro. But man, welcome back, man. Where we can get on and read this Bible, man, and learn about the goodness of God. But first and foremost, the first order of business, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Prop They Left Day YouTube channel. I'm telling you, that way you can keep up to date to all the news, the videos, the shorts, whatever it is, you gonna always stay in tune, man. And I'm so glad to have y'all, man. And I'm just so excited to continue to learn about God, man, because man, God he does so many amazing things. I'm just speaking on myself personally. I'm not sure what you're here for. Like I said, man, everybody is welcome, man, because we read so much, we see so much, we watch so much. So I'm like, man, why not read the Bible? What's wrong with reading the Bible? I don't care who you can still be out there in them streets, man. Read that Bible, man. I'm telling you, it could definitely change your life and turn it around, because I just want God to continue to just turn my life around. He done did some amazing things for me, and I know he not done yet, and I'm not done yet, because I'm like, man, nah. Once I got to experience how good God is, I just want to keep experiencing that. And I know it says in the Bible, the more that you keep God's name in and coming in and out your mouth and things of that nature, he gonna make sure that you prosper. So I want to make sure that I speak about him more and more and give him all the credit for everything, because I know if it wasn't for him, man, I wouldn't even be here, man. I wouldn't be here. I know that for a fact. And even if I was here, man, I'd be in a totally different state of mind. So I'm grateful to be here, man. But anyway, I ain't gonna talk your ear off, man. We finna get straight to the business. You know, we read 2 chapters every day, Monday through Friday, excluding holidays, and we notate 2 things that stand out to us and 2 things that we may have questions about. So make sure that you participate and you write down 2 things that maybe stood out to you in the comments below, and 2 things that you may have some questions or concerns about, and that way we can all learn from each other. And let's get started, baby. Let's get started. Let's see, where did we stop yesterday? All right. So, we stopped at chapter 17 in Genesis. So we starting at Genesis 17. You can follow along and read along, or you can just listen to me read, and we're going to go from there. Chapter 17. Abram is named Abraham. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am El Shaddai, God Almighty. Serve me faithfully and live a blameless life. I will make a covenant with you, by which I will guarantee to give you countless descendants. At this, Abram fell face down on the ground. Then God said to him, This is my covenant with you. I will make you the father of a multitude of nations. What's more, I am changing your name. It will no longer be Abram. Instead, you will be called Abraham, for you will be the father of many nations. I will make you extremely fruitful. Your descendants will become many nations, and kings will be among them. I will confirm my covenant with you and your descendants after you from generation to generation. This is the everlasting covenant. I will always be your God and the God of your descendants after you. And I will give the entire land of Canaan, where you now live as a foreigner, to you and your descendants. It will be their possession forever, and I will be their God. The mark of the covenant. Then God said to Abraham, your responsibility is to obey the terms of the covenant. You and all your descendants have this continual responsibility. This is the covenant that you and your descendants must keep. Each male among you must be circumcised. You must cut off the flesh of your foreskin as a sign of the covenant between me and you. From generation to generation, every male child must be circumcised on the 8th day after his birth. This applies not only to members of your family, but also to the servants born in your household and the foreign-born servants whom you have purchased. All must be circumcised. Your bodies will bear the mark of my everlasting covenant. Any male who fails to be circumcised will be cut off from the covenant family for breaking the covenant. Sarah is named Sarah. Sarai is named Sarah. Then God said to Abraham, regarding Sarai, your wife, her name will no longer be Sarai. From now on, her name will be Sarah, and I will bless her and give you a son from her. Yes, I will bless her richly, and she will become the mother of many nations. Kings of nations will be among her descendants. Then Abraham bowed down to the ground, but he laughed to himself in disbelief. How could I become a father at the age of 100, he thought, and how can Sarah have a baby when she is 90 years old? So Abraham said to God, may Ishmael live under your special blessing? But God replied, no, Sarah, your wife, will give birth to a son for you. You will name him Isaac, and I will confirm my covenant with him and his descendants as an everlasting covenant. As for Ishmael, I will bless him also, just as you have asked. I will make him extremely fruitful and multiply his descendants. He will become the father of 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will be confirmed with Isaac, who will be born to you and Sarah about this time next year. On that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and every male in his household, including those born there and those he had bought. Then he circumcised them, cutting off their foreskins, just as God had told him. Oh. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised, and Ishmael, his son, was 13. Both Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised on the same day, along with all the other men and boys of the household. Whether they were born there or bought as servants, all were circumcised with him. Chapter 18. A son is promised to Sarah. The Lord appeared again to Abraham near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. One day, Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and noticed 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran to meet them and welcomed them, bowing low to the ground. My Lord, he said, if it pleases you, stop here for a while. Rest in the shade of this tree while water is brought to wash your feet. And since you've honored your servant with this visit, let me prepare some food to refresh you before you continue your journey. All right, they said, do as you have said. So Abraham ran back to the tent and said to Sarah, hurry, get 3 large measures of your best flour, knead it into dough, and bake some bread. Then Abraham ran out to the herd and chose a tender calf and gave it to his servant, who quickly prepared it. When the food was ready, Abraham took some yogurt and milk and the roasted meat, and he served it to the men. As they ate, Abraham waited on them in the shade of the trees. Where is Sarah, your wife? The visitors asked. She's inside the tent, Abraham replied. Then one of them said, I will return to you about this time next year, and your wife Sarah will have a son. Sarah was listening to this conversation from the tent. Abraham and Sarah were both very old by this time, and Sarah was long past the age of having children. So she laughed silently to herself and said, how could a worn-out woman like me enjoy such pleasure? Especially when my master, my husband, is also so old. When the Lord said to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? Why did she say, can an old woman like me have a baby? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return about this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah was afraid, so she denied it, saying, I didn't laugh. But the Lord said, no, you did laugh. Abraham intercedes for Sodom. Then the men got up from their meal and looked out toward Sodom. As they left, Abraham went with them to send them on their way. Should I hide my plan from Abraham? The Lord asked. For Abraham will certainly become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. I have singled him out so that he will direct his sons and their families to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just. Then I will do for Abraham all that I have promised. So the Lord told Abraham, I have heard a great outcry from Sodom and Gomorrah because their sin is so flagrant. I am going down to see if their actions are as wicked as I have heard. If not, I want to know. The other men turned and headed towards Sodom. But the Lord remained with Abraham. Abraham approached him and said, will you sweep away both the righteous and the wicked? Suppose you find 50 righteous people living there in the city. Will you still sweep it away and not spare it for their sakes? Surely you wouldn't do such a thing, destroying the righteous along with the wicked. Why you would be treating the righteous and the wicked exactly the same. Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all the earth do what is right? And the Lord replied, if I find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the entire city for their sake. Then Abraham spoke again, since I have begun, let me speak further to my Lord. Even though I am but dust and ashes, suppose there are only 45 righteous people rather than 50. Will you destroy the whole city for a lack of 5? And the Lord said, I will not destroy it if I find 45 righteous people there. Then Abraham pressed his request further. Suppose there are only 40. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it for the sake of 40. Please don't be angry, my Lord. And Abraham pleaded, let me speak. Suppose only 30 righteous people are found. And the Lord replied, I will not destroy it if I find 30. Then Abraham said, since I have dared to speak to the Lord, let me continue. Suppose there are only 20. And the Lord replied, then I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. Finally, Abraham said, Lord, please don't be angry with me if I speak one more time. Suppose only 10 are found there. And the Lord replied, then I will not destroy it for the sake of the 10. When the Lord had finished his conversation with Abraham, he went on his way, and Abraham returned to his tent. All right. Man, that's good, man. That was some good reading. That just finished our 2 chapters today. We read chapter 17 and chapter 18 in Genesis. And there's so many things that stood out to me. It's sort of hard to just pick 2, but that's what we're going to do. I'm going to pick 2 things. One of the things that stood out to me was when he said, and I will give it the entire land of Canaan where you now live as a foreigner to you and your descendants. It will be their possession forever, and I will be their God. Man, that's amazing. Like God told him, man, basically what Abraham was a visitor, a foreigner. Now he finna be the master of it. Like he finna give him the entire land of Canaan, not just to him, but his descendants forever. Man, that's amazing when God make a covenant with you like that. That's like, man, Abraham went to a whole nother level. That's what you call blessings. Another thing that stood out to me was that definitely stood out to me. When Abraham, man, on that very day, Abraham took his son Ishmael and every male in the household, including those born there and those he had bought. Then he circumcised them, cutting off their foreskins, just as God had told him. Good God Almighty, ain't gonna lie. Boy, Abraham, my dad, man, I'd be so mad, boy. He come out there, he circumcising everybody. On that day, he wasn't playing. God told him to do something. He went and did. I was like, man, God, why you gotta, you out here trying to circumcise folks out here in the middle of nowhere. Why y'all didn't do it when I was a baby? I wouldn't even remember this. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, that stood out to me because I'm like, I'm a man, so I'm like, man, thinking of anybody just cutting down there, man. I was like, type stuff, man. But it's all good. It's all good. Now, two things that I may have questions about was, was when Abraham, he asked, can Ishmael live under the blessing, the special blessings too? But God told him, no, sir. Sarah is going to have the son, which is gonna be Isaac. And man, it's amazing that God was just, he was just gonna bless this man whole entire family, man, generation after generation after generation, man. And that's such a blessing, man. And it's crazy because I got a friend named Isaac, and his father's name Abraham, and his brother's name Zechariah. And man, it's like, man, God been good to them too, man. And it's just amazing, the power of names too. So it make me think about, some of these names mean something, you know what I'm saying? And so, if I ever have a son, which I do want to have one eventually, it's gonna make me think about what I'm gonna call my son. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I had a question about, is like, why, what made God choose Isaac and not Ishmael, or why couldn't both of them, have the same type of special blessings? The next question I would have is, what made Saddam become so wicked? Because Abraham, he was trying to plead, for their, case time after time. He said, okay, what if there are 50 people that's righteous? Are you gonna destroy the whole city? I was like, all right, for their sake, for 50, I won't destroy the whole city. He's like, all right, what if it's only 45? Because I see these folks out here crazy. What if it's only 45? All right, for 45's sake, I won't destroy the whole city. He like, man, what if it's on the 30? He just kept going down till he even got to 10. He's like, man, you know what? I give up, because, they gonna do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? And so the Lord went his way, and Abraham went back into his tent. But I just want to know what caused Saddam to get so out of control to where they became so wicked and so sick. But like I said, man, if you got some answers to my question, drop it down below. If you want to name some things that stood out to you, drop it down below in the comment section. Or, if you just want to shed some light in your expertise, you may be a biblical scholar or something like that, man, feel free. Man, I always like to learn. So drop your knowledge, man. We want to definitely allow you to shed that light with us, man. But as always, man, it's always great to be here with you guys. Make sure y'all here again tomorrow night, 10 p.m., man. We're going to be doing our Bible reading for beginners. And where beginners come together and read the Bible to learn all about the goodness of God, man. I love you all. Or prop day, left day. Genuine love to you all. I'll see y'all in a minute.